Hello and welcome to Last Week in AWS. I'm Corey Quinn and it's RSA Week in San Francisco. Yay. Let's see what AWS got up to last week. Amazon DynamoDB now supports an AWS FIS action to pause global table replication. The wizards at AWS have done it again. They've ingeniously added a pause function to DynamoDB's global table replication and charge you 10 cents a minute every time you press it. As RSA Week unfolds on Last Week in AWS, let's redefine cloud security with Prowler open source. In a landscape cluttered with rigid and opaque tools, Prowler shines with its community-driven, customizable platform. Trusted by top security leaders, Prowler empowers you with transparent, adaptable security checks that fit your unique cloud environment. Don't just secure your cloud, own your security strategy with a tool that evolves with you. Embrace a future where cloud security is open, transparent, and under your control. Don't think too hard about something called Prowler talking about being a easily recognized, shining beacon of something. Seems not what a Prowler does. That's not important. Join the open cloud security movement at prowler.com and secure your cloud your way. Amazon Q launches subscription management with AWS IAM Identity Center integration. Yes, Amazon Q went GA despite being nowhere near good enough, which Amazon PR and basically nobody else is very excited about. AWS PR can go on its annual team building exercise to Mexico where they all drink the blood from the goats or whatever. For the rest of us, this is the interesting part. Identity Center is gaining the ability to manage subscriptions per user. This hints at something at AWS becoming aware of users as systemic things rather than completely new entities in different regions or accounts. AWS Code Artifact now supports Ruby Gems. I wanted AWS to give me a place to store my Ruby gems when I worked in a Ruby shop back in 2011. 13 years later, I don't work there anymore, but I bet someone in AWS support emailed that long-dead email address to tell me my wish was granted. AWS Config simplifies usage analysis with Amazon CloudWatch metrics. Starting today, the Amazon CloudWatch metrics for monitoring AWS Config data usage will display only billable usage. Thank you. That's the only reason that customers care. Why am I using the cloud dynamically, as you sold me on doing, and finding a significant portion of my bill has become config charges is the only time that people really care what config is doing under the hood. Announcing the general availability of AWS local zones in Honolulu, Hawaii. Scott Piper rightly points out that it's more than a little absurd for a local zone in Hawaii to have a parent region of US West 2 in Oregon. I'd have expected them to buy a cruise ship or something. Announcing the general availability of Amazon Q Business and Amazon Q Apps Preview. In a move that's sure to have Microsoft reaching for the antacids, Amazon just launched their Q Business apps for general availability. Brace yourselves for a slew of shouty partners telling you just how transformative taking your spreadsheets and shoving them into the cloud truly can be. This is not to be confused with Amazon Q Developer, which is a separate thing and is, I think, also separate from the Amazon Q annoying chatbot in the console that never goes away or answers a question correctly. It's also not part of Amazon Q Supply Chain, Amazon Q for Connect, or Amazon Q for QuickSight. Someone in Seattle has gone insane and now only responds when you address them as Amazon's simple queuing service. AWS supports dynamically removing and adding auto-assigned public IP at v4 addresses. This is kind of mandatory given that they now cost non-trivial amounts of money at scale. Introducing file commit history in Amazon Code Catalyst. We built and launched a thing a couple of years ago on top of Git and only now got around to letting it show you file history. Amazon EC2 now protects your AMIs from accidental deregistration. This is like an EC2 instance's termination protection. You must disable it before you can delete the thing, and it hit the peak of being the most useful to customers roughly 15 years ago. Amazon EC2 simplifies visibility into your active AMIs. Now, people have been asking for this for ages. What finally changed allowed this to see the light of day? If you know, please reach out and tell me because I am desperately curious. Amazon EFS increases maximum per client throughput to 1.5 gigabit per second. Ooh, this still wouldn't help my old performance problem where hitting the disk 1,500 times every time I instantiate a new shell when my home directory lives on NFS can be kind of slow. But that's very much a me problem because my ZSHRC is ancient and not one the service can solve. AWS Route 53 Resolver DNS Firewall now supports domain redirection. This is a hell of a lot easier than relying on undocumented behaviors in the RFCs to do the right thing when you CNAME one domain to another. And sure enough, the blog post on this feature makes this very same observation. Blockchain node deployment on AWS, a comprehensive guide. This is a stain on the previously good name of the AWS database blog. Haven't they heard that everyone pivoted to hyping AI now? Don't worry, it's all still the same group of people, NVIDIA's street team. How to send MMS using Amazon Pinpoint. Okay, something's going on this week. AMI protection changes, labeling of those AMIs. I don't have to CNAME domains to one another anymore. RubyGem support and code artifact. A blockchain post. Listen to me very closely, please, Amazon, because I have a crucially important question for you. What year do you believe that it is right now? When it's time to secure their cloud environments, AWS itself recommends Prowler open source. Prowler gives you the tools to oversee and secure your AWS environment openly. Why hide behind closed doors when you can empower your team with a security tool that's open for all to see and improve? Embrace a transparent approach to AWS security with Prowler open source at prowler.com. Flowpipe, a cloud scripting engine for DevOps workflows. This is just weird. It's a GNU licensed project, but it requires a CLA to be agreed to that assigns all copyright to Turbot, which is a fine company, but still, no. The post makes no mention of Turbot, but their chief revenue officer is one of the co-authors, and AWS generally doesn't do anything with third parties like this without there being a commercial arrangement in place somewhere, and never that I can recall on the open source blog. This one is damn strange. JP Morgan Chase and AWS study the prospects for quantum speedups with near-term Rydberg atom arrays. Oh boy, here we go. JP Morgan Chase and AWS teamed up on this abomination of a blog post, and it shows something fierce. It features 12 different authors, a bibliography with multiple divergent formats for journal and article citations, and finishes with a disclaimer that this is not intended as legal, tax, financial, investment, accounting, or regulatory advice, and then a different disclaimer that despite 4 of the 12 authors being Amazon employees, the content and opinions in this blog are those of the third-party author, and AWS is not responsible for the content or its accuracy, which is horseshit since it's on your website. Still, this post is more clear to someone like me with an 8th grade education than a significant portion of AWS's own documentation. So there's that. Technology that teaches empathy. How Empathic uses AI to help us listen to each other. The first draft of this headline at AWS replaced the entire second sentence with, "What the hell is empathy?" It is, to be blunt, not their corporate strong suit. And finally, AWS, Amazon engineer helps stop cyber attacks, inspires cat culture. AWS VP and distinguished engineer Tom Scholl has both a very hard job and also 5 cats. It seems that even more so than most people in his absurdly lofty role at Amazon, he is remarkably self-effacing and doesn't appear to care nearly as much whether we know about his professional work. And it is behind the scenes, don't get me wrong. I get that most people don't have a background in network peering, anti-abuse, and the other places where Tom spent his career. But even for those of us who just brush up against it every now and then, he's a freaking legend. He's been doing this a long time, which likely explains that despite many faster cabling options being available, he's apparently stuck with cats 5. And that's what happened last week in AWS. I'm cloud economist Corey Quinn. Have fun at RSA, friends. If you're in town, come say hello.